Hello Pythonians. In this lecture, we are going to learn about functions in Python. This is very important concept in Python because functions make programmers' life easy. Why do I say that? To understand this, let's see why exactly do we need function. Let's take an example. I am declaring x is equal to 4 and then I am checking if x module 2 equal to 0. That means if x is divisible by 2 or not. Now in this particular code, you can see if the condition is true, I am printing these two lines as well as this one. And if the condition is false, I am printing again these two lines which are similar to these two and then printing one different line over here. If I run this code, you can see three lines which is from first block because x is divisible by 2 right now. Let's change the value of x. Now x is not divisible by 2. So the output is also changed. But in both the outputs, you can see these two lines are printed. And I have written these two lines separately in if block also and in else block also. Here the problem is I am printing same two lines and I am writing same two lines in if block also and else block also. This is not feasible because there might be many conditions and in every condition I want to print these two lines which are common. So I should not be writing these two lines in each block of code. So to solve this problem, we have functions in Python. What functions will do? Let's see by example. Let's create one function. This is how we define function. To define function, we use def keyword and then write a name of function. A name of function should always be in all small letters and separated by underscores if necessary. So here I have written my underscore function and then open and close round brackets and then double colons. This is a format of function, and inside this parenthesis we can also write parameters that I will explain later in this lecture. So first, let's consider this function without any parameters. Now I have defined this function name over here, and inside this function I have put same two lines that we were repeating in each block of code. I will run this code. Now this function is defined in memory of Python. Now how do I call this function? Let's say again x is equal to 3 and write all that piece of code, and instead of writing these two lines repeatedly, we can just write my function. That means we are calling this function over here and the function will print these two lines for us. So here in both blocks I have written my function. So if I run this code, it will go in else block and you can see where I have called my function, these two lines are printed. Now if I do x is equal to 4, you can see where I have called this my function, again these two lines are printed. And this is a main use of function in Python, which is called code reusability. In Python, a function can be defined once and can be used many times. So it aids in code reuse. You don't want to write same code more than once. Functions are the great way to keep your code short and concise and readable also. Now we will see how we can pass any information to functions. So here we are defining function called even or odd, and in round brackets we are accepting this n as argument. And inside this function what we are doing is checking whether n is divisible by 2 or not. If it is divisible, we are calling my function which we have defined above. That means we will be printing these two lines. And inside else condition also we are calling my function and printing this line. Now with this example, we have understood that we can call a function within a function. But how to call this even or odd function? Let's define value of x is equal to 3 now. So it is odd value, and if we need to call even or odd function, what we will do, we will just call the function name and inside a parameter we also pass this x. Now what this function does is accept this x as an argument in place of n over here, and then it will compare the value of n, which is nothing but the value of x in this case, and then it will do further operations on it. And you can see we have called function within the function. My function is called within even or odd function, and it is working correctly. So this is how we can pass an argument to a function. We can also pass multiple arguments for a function. So for example, in this function we have defined a and b as two arguments, and here it is returning the addition of a and b. In above functions we have seen function is printing something, but in this function we can see function is returning something. That means we need a variable to store the result of this function. So let's take a variable called answer, ans, and then we will call this function which is returning the addition of two parameters we are going to pass to it. So addition of 3 and 6. So let's print this answer. You can see the addition is returned and it is stored in this answer variable, and it is printed over here. We can also change the variable values, like here in this case if I write 9 over here and we will run this, you can see the addition of 9 and 6 is 15 is printed over here. So this was all about functions. I hope you have understood the importance of function in Python and the concept of code reusability. I will see you in the next lecture. Thank you.